Welcome back to the neighborhood. This week's episode, our first guest tonight is Devin Denofa. Devin, welcome to the neighborhood, my man.
It is an honor.
Devin is many things. Right now, he is a realtor at KW Morristown, TCS, New Jersey.
Marlton.
Marlton.
Okay, it's all good. Yep.
Marlton, Morristown, Marlton. It's all the same really
Same
wonderful,
names.
awesome town to live in, you know what I mean? And also runs an incredible self-development, personal development group called The Harvest, which we're a part of. So Devin, before we get into the Harvest end of things, just talk a little bit about your beginnings in real estate and maybe even a little bit before real estate, some of the life journey you've had.
How much time we got on this?
We got time, we got time.
I ain't gonna hit people with my life story, but I'll try and speed it up. So, it's funny when I lead into something, I have to tell the story behind it. But just to keep it very simple, I was in the restaurant business.
A lot of really great people to start off with.
Yeah.
I started out in the restaurant business.
I tell everybody, I always suggest people at some point in their life, obviously when they're younger, get into the restaurant business, like whatever, serving tables, like learn how to serve people, but it just, the stuff that you learn being in the restaurant business, the skills that you develop, multitasking, talking with people, service, all that good stuff, man. But even now, there are so many people now, like, I have conversations with people who are recruiting, who are trying to hire, whether it's, doesn't matter, any type of field, looking for managers, stuff like that. And a lot of people don't understand, there's a lot of talented people in the restaurant business that, have great backgrounds, have degrees, whatever it is. They're just in the transition period of, what do I want to do, right? I need to make cash now, but there's a lot of talent in there, man. So,
yeah, for sure.
Got into the restaurant business. Then, I got fired when I was 21. I was about to be the youngest GM in the whole company. That was the goal. I was the youngest kitchen manager prior. Did some stupid shit. Got fired when I was front of house manager. We won't go into details on that, but just know that happened, and everything happens for a reason. So that got me. I transitioned out of there, and I was like, what do I want to do? And I started bartending, and then I always knew I wanted to be in a business. I always knew I wanted to get the most out of life, right? And that, and that's, at that time, it was like, all about finances, right? I want to make the most money that I possibly could because, I come from a background to where we always, my parents set us up, right? But it was always like anything extra. I never like to say I came from nothing, none of that stuff, because I was provided enough to do whatever I want in life.
Right.
I never got the extra stuff. It was like, hey, we're going to give you what you need. Everything that you're going to want, you got to go out and get. You got to go out and make the money. You got to make that path. So I watched a show, I didn't have a college degree at the time, watched a show called $1 Million Listing, which mixed emotions watching that now when you think of how...
Was it LA or New York? Which one were you watching?
At this time, this was like 10 years ago, maybe
Okay.
New York. But it was like, it grabbed my attention. I was like, wow, I would thoroughly enjoy being in this business, selling houses, showing people houses. Like, this is a product that I would love to sell and build a career off of. And there's no limit to what you can make, which was very important to me, and I didn't need a college degree. So then that's when I got my real estate license. That's what kind of triggered me to get in there. Obviously now I know a lot of it's staged, so on and so forth, but nothing's ever going to be 100% perfect. But hey, I'll tell you what is sometimes when I watch it I get annoyed. That's one of the reasons why I even got inspired to be in real estate. So that's kind of a little background on how I got into real estate.
Sure. And you started off, did you start off at Keller Williams?
No. I actually, when I first got into the business, I was working at Maggiano's. I was maybe serving tables at this time. Bartender, I don't even know. But got my real estate license, and my buddy, what a throwback name, my boy Anthony Pinto, was like, yo man, I got my license too. I'm working with this guy, Jason, in Long Foster. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm like, whatever, it's a team. I was like, let's go. Like, whatever, I don't know anybody else.
Jason Graf?
Who is like an older brother to me, one of the nicest.
Awesome dude.
I love him. He's like family to me. So when I got into the business, thankfully, man, I just, I got into the business with, being on Jason Groh's team. At that time, it was called the Richie Groh team. Actually, Mark Ritchie and Jason Groh were partners at one point.
Okay.
And that's kind of when I got into the business, man. So that's a good little throwback story. But yeah, and me and Jason still today, man, are great friends. And he's just always been a mentor to me, a big brother to me. Just an all around like great human being. You know what I mean? So can never say enough good things about Jason. I always like to give people like my compliments because
Sure.
everybody plays a part in who I am today, and he was a big part of that.
Awesome. And how did the TCS NJ thing come about? Like a lot of people, especially over in Philly, they hear TCS PA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a lot of them haven't heard of TCS NJ or aren't as exposed to it as they are there. So how did that come about?
So I years later, and it was you know, it wasn't like a bad breakup or whatever, but I decided to make the jump to Keller Williams, but it was only because you know, I saw the condo shops, right, who is my partner now, you know, they at this time, right, and I was always trying to think like, you know, like what, you know, obviously when you're growing in the business, you're always getting approached, but I'm a super loyal guy, man.
Yeah.
So, and you know, it was just at that time, I saw that the condo shops made the change to Keller Williams. I was like, man, if they did it, like there's something to be said.
Sure, sure.
Right? This is a huge boutique company, one of the premier real estate companies in all Philadelphia. And that was when I was like, okay. And then, you know, Ken Weller connected with me, who's a partner at Rittenhouse Realty Advisors. He's another real estate mogul now.
Sure,
He's
sure.
unbelievable. But then, so that's when I joined Keller Williams, right? So I made that switch to Keller Williams, and at that time, I actually joined the Washington Township office. And I was just my own team, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was at this moment, it was just me and my wife, the Nova team.
Right.
Right, and then we started, you know, growing at a rapid pace. We then partnered with a longtime friend of mine, Tom Wenger, who's now a partner on our company. Next thing you know, Andrew,
Yeah.
he joined us. Actually, my great friend Chris Chalet, he joined us also. So he's like a transaction manager and leader in our
Sure,
company too.
sure.
I've known him for 12. It's funny, all these people that are here, a lot of them I've known for 10, 12 years.
Right.
You know, so then we started, you know, getting some massive traction. I want to share this with you because last week we were talking about like manifestation, and there was a time when I told a few brokers, I was like, you know, I want to have like I want to be the name for Philadelphia and New Jersey, right? And at this time, this was actually when I was still at Long and Foster, believe it or not. And you know, I won't say names, but a few people said, well, "How you gonna do that, man?"
Right.
Like, you know how hard it is to get like, you know, to get a name in just one neighborhood, let alone Philadelphia and South Jersey. So I was like, you know, I don't know how I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? But I do know that this is something
That's the goal.
That's the goal, right? And don't you know, right? I don't know. Maybe let's just say fast forward 2 years later, the Nova team's crushing it. Then Gerard reached out to me and said, "Hey man, listen, this is the deal. We're looking to expand. We love what you guys are doing. We feel that, hey, if we combine powers, we can do some amazing things, not just in residential. Like there's just a bigger world that we can just help way more people. We can help way more realtors grow too as we do it." And then we merged with them and started TCS New Jersey. Right now, the reason why I want to go back to what I just said 5 minutes ago, now, right, we are a team with TCS, right, New Jersey, and I don't want to, we have some other cool things coming up. But for the most part, with TCS now, between both sides of the bridge, we're the only team that can say we do well over $300 million in production.
Right.
Right? So now, guess what? You know, that person who said this 5 years ago, now our team on Philadelphia and South Jersey are one of the premier teams that can say they do the most production in South Jersey and in Philadelphia combined.
Awesome.
Crazy how that worked out.
Man.
You know what I mean? Now, to be, you know, it's not like I am just one but you know, it's a whole team thing, but it's just crazy when you put things out there one way or another. If you continue to believe and put that action behind it, sure enough, it happened.
Yeah.
You know, so that was, I just like to throw that. So
That's
pretty
awesome.
cool how that
That
worked
is
out.
awesome. And I've talked about the Harvest on the show a bunch of different times, and we've had a couple Harvest members on here, but you're the founder of the Harvest. So talk a little bit about how that came to be. Like, was that just you woke up one night in hot sweat and were like, hey, I want to form this group and call it the Harvest? Or how did that come about?
So one thing that really helped me, you know, let's just say 8 years ago, really get traction and grow my business was when I had this aha moment on personal development, right? And I realized that, man, the more I worked on myself and my mind, it's not a coincidence that my business is growing. My health is getting better. My relationships are getting better. My brand is getting better because of the content that I'm putting out there. I'm attracting people. right? So then, as I was still fresh into the business, people, I started getting that energy out there, and people were like, man, they're starting to talk, and then I developed this blueprint that I used to, and I still use to grow my business. And then people were like, hey man, like, can you come and teach this to the offices?
Sure.
So then I started teaching my blueprint to some of the offices, and people were like, Devin, man, like, you're firing everybody up. You know what I mean? It's not just like, you're not just like, there is something here to where, like, it's more than, like, there's something here that you need to unpack. And then, I realized that I genuinely love getting the best out of people. When I'm in my zone, my peak performance zone is when I'm helping people, when I'm coaching someone, when I'm trying to motivate, inspire someone, get their mind blocks out of their way so they can continue to go. So then I was like, you know what? Like, at this time, and it's still, most people still never think about like hiring a coach. Most people think that, well, hey, after sports, after high school, after college, after professional, you don't need a coach anymore, right? Meanwhile, when you had a coach, you were performing at the best version of yourself, mentally, physically, spiritually, right? So then I was like, man, there's something called coach. I started digging into it, right? So then I started, getting involved with the Keller Williams coaching, stuff like that. And then I was like, you know what, I want to take this to the next level. And then, one of our speakers that we just had in Harvest, one of the top executive coaches in the world, Dave Meltzer, just spoke. But, what I did was I just immersed into it. I started following the best like influencers, the best coaches in all aspects of life. And I don't want to go into the story because it's very long, but fast forward, I sought out David Meltzer, who then, outside of the coaching that I was doing, he started coaching me, and then he had me coaching a lot of the people that would reach out to him that couldn't afford him. Right. So I was always doing that coaching, but the problem was when people would reach out, they'd be like, hey, I want some one-on-one coaching, but again, coaching, like, I'm not talking about corporate coaching that your company hires that you sit in on, like you actually making an investment yourself to pay someone, yourself, not your company, to make you better or to help you perform at a higher level is very uncommon. Right? So when people reach out, like, this is what it's going to cost. You know what I mean? Because I'm not just a coach. I actually am building businesses too, which is the difference also. Some people, when they can't do stuff, then they try and coach.
You're not book smart. You're street smart and book smart. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know how book smart I am, but for the most part.
You're real life. You know what I mean? You're not just practical information. You are actually putting this stuff into play.
And by the way, I still have so much more room to grow and stuff like that. But anyway, people would reach out and be like, hey, I want one-on-one coaching. Then I tell them, man, like, they're just not used to hearing what it costs. So then I just always hated telling people that, like, all right, sorry, just follow me, I'll do whatever. So then at one point, a friend of mine who was one of my coaches and who coaches digital marketers throughout the country, he was like, Devin, you need to start a community. And I was like, wow, I never thought about that, right? So then I started the community, and this was right when COVID happened, right? So there has never been a time where investing in yourself, your mindset, your health, community is more important than when COVID happened.
Sure.
So I then was like, you know what? I'm going to bring this to the market at a pretty much next to nothing rate. And then, because of the brand equity that I built over the past decade, people were like, dude, listen, I've seen you do it. You know what I mean? Like, anything that you're behind, like, I'll support. Plus, like, I'm willing to contribute too. And then literally within a year, we had over 100 members, which is incredible. But that's kind of how it started, man. And that was, I was coaching before, and then it was like, the Harvest has just been the greatest gift for me ever because of I met you through the Harvest, and it's not just me, it's everybody. It's everybody's helping each other, holding each other accountable, sharing business, challenging each other to do more, to get better. And it's just a community, man, that you really can't find, locally. And it's just the beginning, man. So that's kind of how that started.
It's crazy because you were talking about how people think about coaching, and I've actually told this story more than once. I was at a level where I was like, man, I'm doing really well. I talked to a couple people in business that I really like and that I believe what they say, and I've used them as mentors and sounding boards and stuff like that. And they were like, listen, man, you need to hire a coach. And I was like, what am I gonna hire a coach for? For real, come on. Like, I'm the 18-year-old kid that had the pizza place. I'm doing this. I don't need a coach. And the dude, as blunt as can be, was like, Tiger Woods had a coach.
And he was the best golfer in the world.
He's like, when he was the best golfer in the world, he had a coach. He said, are you the Tiger Woods of the mortgage industry right now? And I was like, nope. He goes, well, you need a coach then. And I was like, damn, I like it when people talk to me like that. You know what I mean? I like it because I was like, oh, okay. And then I literally put a post out on Facebook, yo, who's using coaching, who's doing what? And like 3 people from the Harvest messaged me, and Tyler Arjun was the one that messaged me. He's like, yo, I'm in this group. You know, I'm talking to Devin Denofa. I knew your name from being in the business, but I had never met you really before. And I was like, whatever, I'm in. You know, and really, like, that's been the whole thing. Like you were talking about investing in yourself. You know, people don't think of it in the way that it should be. You know what I mean? Like, you'll spend $7 a day on a latte and a pretzel, but you won't spend $500 a month to make you the best version of you that you have, which could turn into exponential finances. But people are just crazy and cheap with that. So.
Well, listen, man, you know, and when it comes to coaching, guys, like, I always tell people, man, it's like, to me, it's worth it just to pay someone just to hold you accountable to do what you say you're going to do. Forget, you know what I mean? Like, but when people think like coach, right, you got to understand, one, you know, look at their background, but if you have somebody, right, and just like you got to figure out who you vibe with, right? But when you have somebody that challenges you, that gives you strategy, that, you know, I'm a student of the game of personal development mindset, and I learn from some of the best coaches, like, and I hire some of the best coaches in the world to help me, and then I deploy everything that I learn, not just from my coaches, from the entrepreneur groups, Ed Milet, Andy Frisella, that I pay to be coached by, but all the stuff that I learned from podcasts, from books, from what helped me in business as a business owner, but leader and friend and all that stuff. But if you can find that person that will continue to keep you focused, it doesn't necessarily have to be like, you know, I know people that hire coaches for their financial situation, for their health, for their marriage, for just their mindset, and then their business, right? Yeah. So there's a difference between. That's why my lane is performance coaching. I'm not a business consultant to where I'm going to go and dissect the numbers. Like, no, that's a business consultant. Like, I focus on the main machine that's going to make that business drive at the absolute highest level, and that main machine is you, right? So whoever that is, if I can get you, if I can keep your mindset firing at all cylinders, you focusing on your health, getting you out of your own way when your emotions get involved, helping you have, like, all these different things. If I can get you firing at all cylinders, what do you think is going to happen to your business? You know what I mean? What do you think is going to happen to you as a leader?
Of everything.
Right? So I want everybody to know, if you, like, you can, there's, nobody is going to give you the accountability that you need for free. Right? And that's the problem. Most people think, oh, you know, I got this person. Listen, man, fierce accountability needs to be hired. And I'll tell you, it's an investment, not a cost. Right? I'm not just like, I'm just, whether it's me or anybody else, it does not matter. But somebody that's sitting on this call right now, if you invest in yourself, right, whatever money you put out there, if you are with the right person, you should be able to 10x that investment. Right? There's no better, a lot of people hear this, there's no better investment you can make than on yourself. Right? But the cool thing is about the Harvest, right, for I mean, now we're like $147 a month, which is still next to nothing. Most like coaching programs are 500, one-on-one coaches are at least 1,000 or more. What happens is, for a lot of people, it's their first like investment out of their own pocket, right, into personal development, and it's affordable. And then what happens is they're like, wow, like, this is what it's like. And then more and more people now are like, you know what? Like, this is a breakthrough for me. I've been on this earth for 50 years, and I've never like experience this. And then at an affordable rate, they see what making that investment, like how they're thinking bigger, how just the help of the community in general. Like, you're not alone, like, you know, or you're just thinking bigger, you're challenging yourself more. There's just a difference between being in an environment of people that, no matter where you're at, we got successful business owners in the community, we got all the way down to just salespeople that are still new. But the bottom line is this, man, is it doesn't matter, you can always be challenged to think bigger. Yeah. You know, and that's what we do in there. And it's the same thing. Everybody in there challenges me. I'm a student just like everybody else in the Harvest. It's a whole community. So you asked about, I didn't mean to go into all this, but
it's a beautiful thing.
It obviously ties into my real estate, because at the end of the day, it's just all about helping people. You know what I mean? So.
All right, so let's go. Now we're going fast forward. 2024, June of 2024. Where is Devin Denofa? And Tell me some future goals that you want to be knocking off the list in the
What's
next 2 years.
2022? Okay.
2 years.
2 years. Okay, so all right, let me think here. As far as I have like different silos. So
Yeah.
as far as real estate is concerned, in 2 years I want to be at least 50 agents, easily doing well over 100 million a year.
Okay.
In the in our real estate company. When it comes to the harvest, I would at least like to be at 500 members.
Okay.
And we're gaining some steam now. We bring on two globally known like high level entrepreneurs a month too. So everybody's starting to see the people that we're bringing in. So
For sure.
everybody's jumping in there. And then I have a whole, I have other businesses too. For example, that I don't promote too much, but I have a software company. I'm in the financial services business with Marshall Falk, Hall of Fame running back. So like that, and I do investment syndication, whatever. I don't mean to go into all this because I may confuse people. But for the most part, I have these all on silos, so I won't get into all that. But for the most part, as far as what I'm on here for, real estate, right, is having 50 agents doing well over 100 million, which we should be close to this year, as far as hitting 100 million, and the harvest in 2 years being at least 500 members.
You still living in Marlton in 2 years?
I don't know, dude. You never know. No,
Marlton's where
will
you're
be
at?
my home base.
Okay.
Right?
Maybe not the same house.
Yeah, maybe
not.
not. No, I don't want to scare my wife again. I'm always like, that's the thing, man. I'm grateful. Like the house that we have now, I the neighborhood, everything. When I was 19 years old, I actually lived in this neighborhood. And when I was in the restaurant business, I was living. My GM got in a divorce, so I moved in with him. I was 19. I never went to college. This is great. And I was like, one day I'm going to live in this neighborhood. And sure enough, I'm like 34 years old.
That's awesome.
I'm in that neighborhood. But again, that's just a goal. I'm grateful for it. But it's always like, all right, what's like being grateful, but always like I want to continue to expand. So I already have my eyes on specific developments that like are in the future. But I want to make my wife think about we're going to move in a couple of years anyway. But
nice. All right, your personal question. You can get 30 minutes to interview anyone throughout the history of the world. Dead, alive, anyone. Who would it be? Who would you want to sit down and interview with for 30 minutes?
I mean, to me, and I would say Jesus. You know what I mean? That's like immediately top of mind. That would be my answer.
That would be your answer.
Yeah, that's to me. I'm a big, and I'm continuing to grow on my journey of faith. But for me, that's the person that that will give me every answer that I'm ever seeking in my life.
Yeah, we've had like 75, 80 people on the show. I don't know how many people I've asked that question, but we've never gotten that answer before. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome.
Well,
Devin, thanks for coming by the
thank
neighborhood.
you, man. I'm proud of you.
Thank
This
you
is
very much.
amazing what you're doing, man. So keep it up, and one day this is going to be a national TV show.
That's what we're shooting for.
Yeah.
Who knew? That's 5 years from now.
I got
Mr.
some.
Mortgages.
Speaking of that, I got some exciting stuff to talk about
Awesome,
off
brother.
the camera with that too.
Awesome. We'll be right back with the next guest on Mr. Mortgage's Neighborhood.
So. See you guys.
Welcome back to the neighborhood, boys and girls. Our next guest tonight is James Corbett. Welcome to the neighborhood.
My man.
Good to see you. James runs a nonprofit called Project Refit, which Envoy Mortgage was happy enough to partake in an event for one of our second Saturdays. And you do way more than just that kind of stuff. So you just had your big golf event
Yes.
that everyone was a part of.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the charity and talk a little bit about the why, because that's really what matters for everybody else. Like, why did that hit you so hard, and why do you pour your life into Project Refit?
So, there's a very long, detailed, deep answers to the why, but to sum it up simply is there needs to be a change.
Sure.
Right? So suicides are on the rise among the veteran and first responder community. It's not just me. When I say the suicides are on the rise, I'm not here to raise awareness about it. People know about it, right? We don't need more awareness programs, right? We need actual action.
Right.
We need to inspire the American community in trying to get out of their homes to go and help each other,
Yeah.
right? To go and support one another, because at the end of the day, isolation is one of the biggest drugs that people actually get addicted to,
Sure.
right? I mean, aside from alcohol, drugs, and other things as well, isolation is where you go,
Right.
right? And that when you isolate yourself, what are you not doing? Interacting with the community.
Yeah.
You're getting sad. You're getting depressed. You feel like you're not a part of anything. We need to bring people out of their homes. So that's why we really have the mobile bases that we're launching out and conducting missions around that mobile base, which you thankfully took a part of in your company, and I really appreciate that. It was very cool.
It was I talk about it all the time. We've done 12 or 13 second Saturdays, and we've done homeless shelters, and we've done all different kinds of things. But for some reason,
Direct action.
I'm not a veteran.
Yeah.
My dad fought in Vietnam. My grandfather fought in World War II, the Battle of the Bulge. He's actually a part of a book that was there. But I never had any real, I never had any combat stuff, and none of my friends were really. I do have one friend, Brian, who was in Somalia, and he's had some issues from serving there and doing that. But I just think it's so horrible how we treat the people, whether you agree with war or you don't agree with war, whether you have whatever. People go and put their lives on the line, and they come back here to our country, and we say, oh, well, you get a zero down payment loan for your house, and that's about it. Go on and live your life. We really treat the country, the veterans, really poorly, in my opinion. So I really wanted to get involved in any one. I actually started and then had to stop. I had a nonprofit that I was working on a couple of years ago called Operation Shelter, which was taking homeless veterans and trying to get them back into the society. Because I've dealt with the homeless a lot, but people don't understand when you're homeless, it's not just the idea of getting a job or getting a house.
Not even close.
You don't have ID. You don't have clothes to go on a job interview. You're not assimilated to the public. You
might have addiction issues. You might have money.
So
definitely have money issues.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
it's not just
leadership.
like, dude, get some motivation and go get a job. There's like 80 things that have to happen before that.
That's something that I think is a the whole thing of like, get motivation. I don't like that kind of stuff, because like I think it's a disservice to what's actually happening to the person. I think the complexity of people not going after their dreams is deeper than, or even going after improving your life is deeper than just a get motivated. No, that's not it.
Right.
There's a significant underlying issue at times with people, and in that case of a veteran, let's say, or you don't have to say veteran, it could be a first responder, it could be a regular everyday person, it could be you, it could be me, it could be him, who knows, but there's always something underlying that.
Sure, always some trauma there.
There, even trauma or just lack of self-worth or something like that, and figure that out, and then you can figure out why you won't, because if you just jump into getting motivated, then you're going to burn out, and you're going to get worse actually than you were before. So 100% learning what it is that is wrong with you is critical.
Sure.
And I think something, because you were saying like you really enjoyed working with us, one of the things I like to try to tell people is direct action's different.
Yeah.
When you show up to that individual veteran, him or herself, there's something to help them specifically. There's something different happening. You're actually showing that veteran, him or herself, I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful for what you did, and I'm here to help you out. I know you're injured. Like, that guy has heart issues. Like, literally, even just walking around, his heart monitor was like through the roof. So like, if he even moved anything, he was risking a heart attack.
Yeah.
So like, things like that are. You're looking at someone like the guy that we helped out. People walking down the street might not know there's anything wrong with them.
Sure.
Right? It's the same, because it's heart. You can't tell. You know what I mean? Same thing with the brain. You can't see what's up with the brain. You don't know how many times he's been blown up or how many times he's been shot at and things like that, right? So that's how we have to think about when you're working with veterans or first responders. I actually like to talk about even police. Right? Police live in their trauma. You kidding me?
For sure.
They work in their trauma. I had a guy who actually, I could tell you a million stories of police officers I've helped out recently. There's many of them. But basically, instead of giving a story, because they can be pretty violent and everything else, and people are scared of that, but understandably. But it's let's just say that something violent happens on a street corner or in a house. The officer knows of that violence, or the firefighter EMT knows of that violence. Knows either they almost got killed there, or they held someone who was dying, or something like that, in that spot. And then they drive by that spot for the next 20 years.
Right.
Well, I'm sorry. Let's take back up. Next 20 years.
Right.
So it's not necessarily one event that happened.
It's
right.
Living that.
It's it's not even that. It's living in it. Right. Not even reliving. You're living in it still, and you're not even processing that. You might get like a reaction, like that little reaction every time you go past it. Well, I call it brain pains that you get going past these spots. Right. And why aren't we talking about that? Why aren't we talking about that slight reaction, physical reaction that you get when you go by that spot? Yeah. And you know what's fun? We don't even think about that, right? If a police officer pulls you over and he's an a-hole, right? And it's like, oh, that guy was so mean, I'm gonna send in a complaint. And take a step back real quick. Maybe that guy just saved someone's life, or maybe that guy almost got killed on the side of the road, or maybe he is just an a-hole. Who knows?
Right.
You know what I mean? Who knows?
Sure.
But bottom line is, most of them aren't.
Yeah.
Let's be real. Most of them aren't.
No, of course.
Most veterans that I've met aren't. We all have issues.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Like humble yourself for a second, right? I think that's something that Project Refit's getting across is we're all messed up.
Yeah.
Even the guys in the military are like looking up to these great, absolute savage warriors who are killing it out there, right? Like both figuratively and literally, like killing it out there, right? Mm-hmm. Some of them. And then some of them are in office spaces, right? And they're still doing great. But they have other things that happen to them in their life, and then they're like, oh wait, they're messed up too. It's just how you handle it, right? Yeah. It's just who you're talking to about it. One of my greatest interviews I've ever done with a military member, Lieutenant Colonel Pritchett. This guy is the man. He is literally star-studded combat warrior. Every man and woman would look up to him like, wow, that guy's a warrior.
That's a dude.
He led men in war, right?
Sure.
And he shared a story one time where he literally said, he's like, I lost a guy. I think it was actually a couple. He was like, I lost some men. And I stood up in front of the room and I wasn't ready to talk yet. And he said something like real quick and excused himself out of the room for an hour. Where he went is he went to a bathroom, locked himself in there and cried. Just cried. And then he came back, gathered himself, cleaned himself up, went back out and took care of his shit.
Yeah.
Right? Are you kidding? That's some man stuff. You know what I mean? Like, he's not showing that he's crying. He's accepting he needs to. Why can't we just accept that we need to sometimes?
Yeah.
Just do it. Get it over with. Feel the emotion. Feel the sadness. And then go and take care of your shit. Take care of your men.
Yeah.
Come on. That was one of the most valuable things I've ever heard in my life. And I love to share that story because I know someone out there, a man, we need men out there, will hear that and maybe execute in that manner.
Yeah, I think it's, I don't want to get crazy with it, but I think it's one of the things that we tell.
I'll get crazy with it.
Me as a man, I was told that if I did things, I was less of a man. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I'm weird. I really love the Vikings, like the people.
That's not weird.
Vikings.
Yeah.
Because they were super emotional, savage warriors. Would have no problem breaking down, crying, telling everybody they loved them, and then going and taking over a nation. And they weren't afraid to show their emotions and things where people are like, oh, if you do that, you're weak. But really, like you said, everybody's messed up. You know? Everybody's got some type of trauma. Everybody's got something that either you address it and you go forward, or you allow it to eat you up.
100%.
And it goes.
It's funny. I actually shared the other day. Like for myself, people are always surprised when I say this, like, no way. And then they say to me that I'm not that way, which is so annoying because then it's like, thanks for absolutely diminishing what I just said. You know, awesome. But anyway, like I actually have some serious anxiety when it comes like going out in public.
Okay.
Right? Like I don't like networking all the time. I don't like doing that stuff all the time. Even like coming here, like you feel a little something coming here to do it, but like, gotta do it, man. Like you gotta just go, and then I recharge. I'm actually an introvert. More of an introvert than an extrovert. I'm just good at speaking about what I love. Yeah. Right? Everybody knows Project Refit. Everybody knows everything I'm doing with that, right? What do you know about me?
That was my question.
What do you know about me? Yeah. You don't know anything, right? Because like I'm to myself, I'm private, like I like it that way. You know what I mean? Like I like being private and I like having my own life, and like Project Refit is what you know me for, and I appreciate that. People that I let in close get to know me and get to know my life and stuff like that. That's cool, but like, I like to stay private with things, you know what I mean? Like my love life, my family, my best friends, you know what I mean? I have those people who I see all the time, or I talk to all the time, and I like having them on the side. You know what I mean? Because it's, you know why? Because it's a separation. You got Envoy Mortgage here, right? So I didn't know I was on the other side too. Envoy Mortgage here. That's your professional life, and then you might have your personal life here with certain things you want to keep just for you. You know what I mean? Like, I would gladly say I'm an artist. I like to paint. I like to draw. I like to write. I mean, that's where a lot of the things come from. That creating the images for Project Refit and like leading from that way and like thinking where's the future going to go. I love thought experiments, things like that. But I mean, I'll share those things, but I'm not going to tell you who I'm talking to. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like from my love life. I'm not going to tell you who some of my best friends are because they're my best friends. You know what I mean? Like I just want to keep them with me, like for whatever they. If you meet them, right? But like, I'm not gonna blow up their spot. Yeah, exactly. You know, like, and it was funny. Tim Jennings one time asked me on his walking and talking with Tim. He was like, "Who is James Corbett? Like, where did you come from? Do you have a mom? Do you have a dad?" And I'm like, "I have a mom. I have a dad. They're married still, and you know, like they're religious people and they're good people." And I talked about my grandmother recently a little bit, actually on the documentary I was just interviewed on, and like, I actually cried. I'm so nervous about it, man. I actually ended up crying on the documentary talking about my grandma was like a hero to me, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna cry here because I already got it out, I guess. But my grandma, I told the story of how they asked me like, "Where did your heart come from?" And I'm like, "It's really my grandma, man. Like, my grandma used to bring people in off the street, dude, and like feed them and like take care of them that way. And like my grandfather would be like the side of me where I'm like kind of private. He'd be like, June, what are you doing? Bringing in these random people.
I want to help people, just not with our house.
Literally, all races, colors, creeds, religions, all of it. She didn't care. If you're on the street, you're coming in. Come on in. Come on, grab. I made some spaghetti and meatballs. That's awesome. An Irish woman who learned how to cook from her, stepfather who was Italian, and you know, Italian and meatballs. I guess I don't know, and like just she was bringing them in. That's awesome. And yeah, it is, man, and like it is awesome. And what a beautiful image to live by. Yeah. Right? And like that's my why, I guess, right? But a little bit of why I went to my why. And and somebody asked me before too, to answer your question with the why, I guess. So why do you do this? And why not? My answer literally is why not me? Why not me? Why can't I go out there and try to help veterans and first responders and the entire community in a new vision of America? Why not me? Yeah. Right? Like,
well, I mean, listen, a lot of people are scared of that.
I was depressed for 2 years straight with knowing what I had to do. I'm not even joking. I was very depressed. I was really heavy, and I'm an athlete, right? I was really heavy. I was in my thoughts. I was down, and I was scared, because I knew the vision I came up with was massive. The products I was building are massive, and like the things I'm trying to combat against, I am not a part of. So all of the things that are people like, oh, he's not a veteran, don't trust him, and then they get to know me and they're like, wait, he's kind of cool, right? And it's like he's like legit, you know, like, oh, he's not a cop, don't trust him. Wait, he's kind of cool. He is legit. He actually is, and like it took me years to do that. I mean, like, why not though? Right? Why not me to try to? Because I saw it, you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna go try to solve the problem before it happens, and here we are. So. There you go, man.
That's great. That's an awesome answer. So, do you have a favorite? I don't. You probably don't want to talk about the individual, but do you have like a favorite case or a favorite project in Project Refit that you got involved with, where you were like, "Man, I had some doubts before this, but now I know for sure, this is where it's at."
So. Dude, there's so many, but I think the Lieutenant Colonel Pritchett one was powerful for me individually. But I think what you're asking, and just I'm gonna clarify. Yeah. What you're asking is, when did I realize, oh my God, I'm doing it?
Or did you help out someone specifically that the
like, oh my God, this is
happening. Got was like, boom, damn right, this is I'm exactly right.
Every time so the reason, okay, so you are asking it that way. Yeah. Every time I help somebody, I feel that way. Okay. Literally, I'm not even joking. Like, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm so happy and grateful that you just called me, right? I'm so grateful and happy he just reached out. Like, I'm so happy that the dad has reached out saying, I don't know, like, what happened, but my daughter has, like, hope again. Thank you so much, right? Those kind of things, you know what I mean? Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but I guess I'm going to take it to another direction too, though. And
Sure.
I'm just going to answer when I realized, oh my God, we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a couple years ago. It was back, I think it was like the end of 2018, beginning of 2019, I think, right about. And we had this guy that reached out, and he told us that the message that we're spreading was really just impacted him, right? We drew out some, like, I hate saying this now, but like this demon, you know what I mean, that was in his head, and like I guess we agitated it or something, right? And like by demon I mean his traumas.
Yeah.
And the dude reached out, and he was like, "Can one of you guys just like listen to me real quick?" And I was like, "Yeah, what do you mean?" Totally. That's why we exist, right? But I didn't say like, "Yeah, what do you mean?" Totally. No. I was like in my head, I'm like, "Yeah, this is my opportunity. Like, let's go."
Right.
So I was like, "Let it out." And the dude just let it out. And then later on, like a couple days later, he tagged us and said, "These guys just saved my life."
Yeah.
What? Dude, I'm getting chills actually
Yeah.
saying that right now. Like, are you kidding? Like, that was, because I'm remembering how I felt in that moment, and like,
What better could you do
dude, it was
with your time?
It was so cool.
And
Yeah.
have that impact.
It was so cool.
Going to bed knowing that you impacted somebody in
Yeah,
that
man.
way has to just
You know
make
Ashley
it-
Owens?
I don't. I know
No.
the name.
All right. So Ashley Owens is a good friend of mine. She's like a networking guru. Ashley, the networking guru. I'm talking to Ash right now. So no, she's laughing. She's laughing. But she actually, because I also struggle with patience sometimes. I am a very patient person, but with my own projects, with like Refit and my for-profit too, I get very impatient sometimes because I know I have a solution. You have to sit back and be patient, right? And wait for your time, because you're working towards it, you're going for it. That's what I say to myself. However, I have people like Ashley who are like, "Dude, STFU," literally, but she says it, I'm not going to say it on here, and says, "You're saving people's lives."
Right to the point, right?
All right,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Awesome.
It is awesome.
That is really awesome.
Yeah,
I
man.
probably said that word a little bit too much in this interview, but it is awesome.
Glad you feel that way.
So let's go. I try to do something forward. Let's go 2 years from now.
Cool.
What are some of your goals, and where do you see Project Refit and James Corbett June of 2024?
So I'm hoping by June 2024, so I'm going to bring up my for-profit. I hope that my for-profit has a headline that says, "Impact has helped law enforcement save, X amount of children from sex slavery."
Okay.
And then I want to have Project Refit. Project Refit has helped reinvigorate a community here in this rural community. And veterans now have a mission at home to help their local community and each other. Over the mobile base.
That's two real direct ones. That's awesome. Okay, so if someone is out there listening to you and they either want to know more about your for-profit or they want to know how to get involved in Project Refit, how can they get in touch with you? How do they find out more?
So let's just focus on Project Refit. If you want to know about the for-profit product impact, you can just reach out to me on LinkedIn or whatever. But Project Refit, listen, we're looking for monthly donors. We're looking for big time, actually. We're looking for business sponsorships. We're looking for volunteers. We're looking for states to go to and people who need help. We're looking for veterans who want reunions with their old brothers and sisters that they served with, and we'll pay for that. And we're looking for all that, right? All that help. And where you can go for that is projectrefit.us. You can reach out to us through there. You can email me at projectrefit.us. You can also just go to our Facebook page, Instagram. Facebook or Instagram is really the best spot to go to, or LinkedIn, but Facebook or Instagram at Project Refit, and reach out to us directly if you want to get involved with us anyway. I want to also say, for monthly donors, if you're doing $25 or more, you will get a nameplate on the inside of our mobile base. For $25 or more a month, you can dedicate that nameplate to a fallen brother or sister of yours, to a son or daughter, to a dad, to a mom, whoever, or just have your family name on there, and you will be traveling with us everywhere we go and supporting us in our missions.
Sweet. And now you just did have the golf tournament that you do.
We did.
Do you do more than one event like that a year,
Yes.
or is that your main thing? What's the next thing coming?
The next thing coming, we actually have a motorcycle we're going to be auctioning off.
Okay.
We're also going to be hosting, we're just going to go for it and try new stuff out. I like to, anybody that wants to join in with us, I always tell them, I am not going to be telling you how you're going to help us. You're going to tell me how you're going to help us. Right? So you're a part of the team at that point, right? I don't want to have to order you around. I'm terrible at that. Like, I'm already aloof. You know what I mean? You tell me what you're going to do, then you do it, right? Like, I'm not going to micromanage you. Anyway, so one of our new board members, Pat Carney, is a combat veteran. He lives down towards the shore. He grew up down there, and he wants to host a Texas Hold'em tournament at one of the casinos down there, and we're looking for help to get that off the ground. We're going to call it Hold'em for Heroes.
Okay.
I'm announcing it first here. We haven't even announced it out
Sweet.
yet.
I love it.
We're having our first meeting about it actually next week. But Hold'em for Heroes is what we're going to do. We're thinking a $500 buy-in to keep it pretty low so that, you know, even veterans can get involved and stuff like that. So if you want to help us out with that, please contact us. That'd be great. We also have a softball tournament we're doing on October 1st. We've been trying to get it done. However, the partner organization that we're working with, so Sheldon Stewart with TVRC, the Veteran Reset Center, he actually has cancer. He's getting treatment on that, so I had to cancel the one that we're going to host in May, the week before our golf outing.
Okay.
And we pushed it to October 1st. So if you want to help out with that too, that'd be great. We're going to do it at Trenton Thunder Stadium. And we're going to have it, yes, it's going to be really cool. Yep, it's going to be really cool. And if you have any connections to sporting venues or events, let me know. We'd love to show up and bring vets out to that too.
Awesome.
So, and first responders, of course.
Awesome, James. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Awesome. We will definitely see you. We'll be right back with the next guest on Mr. Mortgage's Neighborhood.